Welcome to Unspoken Truth, where we'll be uncovering life's journeys that make or break us, and those little things that bring us joy or the deepest, darkest secrets we've decided that we're taking to our grave. The pain and the judgments that we carry each day, and these are managed in all different forms of relationships, friendships, family, and society. Join me on this journey of unspoken truth and changing the narrative. This is from a woman who's just like you, a mother, a sister, a daughter, and God's child. And in everything else in between, I am still an individual, riding the waves of life. I am Nita Terry T, your host of Unspoken Truth. In episode 3 and 4, I spoke about unlearning behaviors and forbidden love. In this episode, we'll tap into a different love story. A love that we don't understand, and we call this episode Love Not Lost. I refer to we because this episode will be uncovering our love story that was never really defined, but we find that the universe keeps pulling us together like the law of attraction. Have you ever found yourselves with a person in your life that keeps popping up? Is it a game of fate? And does love have a lifespan or a time frame? Can we rewrite the history we once had? Or is it purely a soul tie because it can be mutual? Let me give you a background story about my guest today. We dated in high school, and later in life, we tried it again. It would be an on and off relationship, not much tears, not much bad blood, just two people who enjoyed each other's existence. My guest, we shall refer him as X. We have known each other for about plus minus 16 years, right, X?
Hello.
Hey. Hey. So let's get started. Okay. So, hey X. Thank you for doing this episode with me.
That's strange. Let's go. Let's do this.
So, in episode 3 and 4, I spoke about unlearning behaviors and forbidden love. And we had a chat about this episode and on how some love never dies. I have some questions I wanted us to discuss and maybe share our views. We find ourselves in this loop of love not lost, right?
Yeah.
So my first question is, do you believe in the game of fate?
Do I believe in the game of fate?
Yes. Do you believe in the game of fate?
I don't know. Fate, that's a broad question, I guess, because, I mean, if we are masters of our own fate or destiny, that means we create every single opportunity that lies before us. So I don't know whether there's something waiting for me to go get it, or I don't know. But I feel like everything that we end up doing or every action we take presently kind of like leads us somewhere, but you never know where really, you know? So
True. But
I'm
then
two-sided about it.
but then you referring it to as life and we referring it to love. Do you think we have power?
Oh,
Do you
over
believe
who we love, or
over who we have dated, over people we have come across have dated, over love, any form of relationship actually, but just love itself? Do you think it can be a game of fate?
nah? I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think it's a game of fate. I don't think we have control over what happens and how we love. I don't think so.
Okay.
Because it's a thing. It's a thing that when it happens, and you can only feel it when it's happening. If it's not, it's like almost like out of sight, out of mind. You know, like
Yeah.
if it's there, then you cannot really relate to what you don't know or feel. You know, only when it happens to you, then you're like, oh snap, what am I going through right now? And then you try and encode it in your own space. You know.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. The next question is, does love have a time frame? Do you think as people, can we put time to love? Like we've dated a long time ago and we've known each other for plus minus 16 years, right? So do you
Yeah.
believe that love has a time frame? Once upon a time when we dated, there was love that existed. Do you think there's does love expire? Does it come to an end? Does it continue? Does it change forms? Does it stay the same?
Uh, I I think it evolves. It evolves in different stages. I don't think it dies. It only dies when the person that was when one of the two dies. Then I think, you know, that's how it dies. But I don't think love ever ends unless the two parties have split in a very toxic way. Then, you know, there's no love there. But the memories will keep residing in the back of your mind that, oh, this person used to, you know, made me feel like this. If it
Yeah.
was, you know, a good thing. But I don't think it dies. I think it evolves with time, and there's different stages of it. Like, you know, I mean, back when we used to date, it was like that kind of innocent love, and then
Mm-hmm.
we started growing, and then now so many other things where we can't really grasp the innocence of the love we had,
Mm-hmm.
but we understand where we are now, and it's just evolved into something, I think, greater, because you and I never really had like a toxic
Mm.
relationship. We had our crazy moments, we had our crazy times as, you know, a couple, but I don't think it's anything for I wouldn't say that it dies. I think we've evolved and we've matured with it.
Yeah.
Only when some crappy stuff happens, then we'll be like, you know what, I don't want to see you anymore. But even if you don't want to see me anymore, we are probably gonna link up in the future, and then we realize that, okay, why didn't I want to see
Yeah.
this guy? Crazy,
Yeah, I hear you.
you know. Um, yeah, it was like, okay, it was just that moment. It's like, you know, when you write a test and then you fail it, and then you feel like you've lost everything, but it was just a lesson.
Yeah,
And then you
true.
write the test again, and then you pass it, and then you realize, you know, that, oh, okay, I just needed to just tweak myself here and there
Yeah.
to
I
make
kind of
things
lost you a
work out.
bit there because of I kind of
Yeah,
lost you there because of the connection. But I hope that the listeners are going to be able to articulate what you just said,
connection.
because it was actually when you say love evolves.
Okay.
I do believe that love evolves, but then at the same
Yeah.
time, I also feel that even if a relationship breaks badly, even if it was a toxic relationship, I still believe that there is some form of love that still exists. But then at the same time, I'm also in conflict with it. You know, it's like I believe the love is still there, but at the same time, again, I feel like it can just purely be a soul tie. You know, then there's now this conflict of, does the love still exist,
Mm,
or are you or are you connected,
mm,
you know, spiritually, having a soul tie? And by me saying that,
yeah.
I wanted to read something quickly, and then I thought let's also break that down and what your views are on soul ties. So, one of they say that the symptoms of a soul tie may reach a
Okay.
level where they impact your current or future relationships, to the event where the person you are tied to might pop up in your thoughts at awkward moments, such as when you are intimate at the moment with the current person. And then they say some of the symptoms are obsessing of the person in your thoughts, like daydreaming about them, and also maybe even imagining hearing their voices or just seeing them, whether it's in your dreams or in your present, just chilling, having people around, and then that person pops in your head. So my question is, do you believe there's a very thin line between love not lost and us mistaking love not lost and it being a soul tie? I know it's.
Yeah, that sounds, yeah. Uh, how do I
I think
answer
as
this?
like maybe think about it like
Uh,
think about it
yeah,
like look at maybe other relationships that you've had along the way, because another thing is that apparently we put ourselves in soul
yeah,
ties. We find ourselves in soul ties because it's about things that we have said before that manifested in the universe, like how me and you used to call each other kryptonites once upon a time. And do you think that we fed the universe to a point whereby
yeah, yeah,
we're finding ourselves in that loop? Is it because we said those words so much that we keep on pulling each other closer because of those words, you know? Also think about other relationships. Think about other relationships
yeah.
that you've
I
also
think you're
had,
right.
you know, where you like to somebody, I will love you
Yeah,
forever. Because now I'm sitting here at 31 and trying to figure out my love life. And I'm also thinking, damn, is it really love not lost? Or am I going through a lot of soul ties? You know, I put myself in the situation.
yeah. I think like to the universe kind of like manifests. Especially when you meet,
Sorry,
especially
can you move
when
around just a little bit?
there's
I think the
yeah,
network I couldn't even hear what you said there. Yeah, it's just the network, I think. Yeah, I can hear you. Now I can
yeah. So I'm
now
saying,
I lost you for a
think
bit there.
what we speak into, yeah. I don't know. Is it better now?
Now
Yes,
yeah,
no.
I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Hi, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Okay, perfect. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I
Repeat
can
what
hear
you
you
were about to say.
perfectly. Yeah. So I I was saying that like what we say to the universe manifests. So
Mm-hmm.
especially when you say it with conviction, meaning, and you like, yeah, you really mean what you say, and then the universe kind of
Yeah.
replies in its own way, you know. Um, and I think we said a lot of things, and we are still here. We are still here today. I mean, someone, and it was always about
Yeah.
I'm gonna be with you forever kind of thing. And I sit back and I think about it now. Although we're not together now, it's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, sometimes it's like we fool ourselves, but then what's forever? You kind of like think what
Mm-hmm.
forever is, because forever is a long time. So does that mean that I will always love
Mm-hmm.
you even if I don't see you? Even if
Ah, the network is playing games. The network is playing a lot of games with us right
does
now.
that mean that that
I didn't
that
hear
true
anything.
love
It
is
just
still
literally
there
played games with us. The
when
network
I see you?
started
Mm?
throwing beats. Like literally, it sounded like it was beats. I didn't hear anything. um, I think
I
we
wonder what
well,
happened.
I last heard you saying that what
Can you
is
hear me now?
forever? What is the meaning of loving somebody forever?
Yeah, because now I was with this person for quite a long time, and it's. I think for me, I'd put it like this: she was the one that was like, you are
Mm-hmm.
my forever. I want to be with you forever, and then I took that to heart so bad that I actually played along with it, and
Mm,
to a point where I think now it's
mm-hmm.
engraved either in my mind, in my heart, and I'll always have a soft spot for that person.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I don't see her as often as I used to, I don't even see her at all.
Mm, mm.
But now the question is, what happens when I see her? What happens if she's in another relationship with someone, and then we link up, and then what happens? Like, love is unpredictable. You can love 100 people, but then the feeling of who you love is always genuinely different. It's tailor-made for different people. Love is tailor-made for different people. You love your exes differently, and you love the person you're with differently. But then there's always that one person that will always make your heart melt, and you might not be with that person. So what are we saying when we say love is forever?
Yeah.
Like, you and I are still talking 16, 17 years later. What does that mean? Like, how do you interpret it? And is it love? Is
it a soul tie?
Is it a connection? What is it? You know what I mean? It's not.
Yeah.
Is it a soul? The universe will always respond to whatever you say with conviction. And we've said a lot of things, and that's why we are still cool, I guess. You know what I mean? We've had our hardships, but we are still cool, and we still have a connection that's evolving. The love is evolving. You know what I mean? And even though we don't say I love you, but it's there. It's genuinely there.
It's
you
the
don't have to say it.
appreciation.
You live. Yeah, you live it. You go through it. So it's all on how we define it, but love is forever. Like, love conquers all, I guess. That's what they say, because you don't even have to say it. You just have to live through it. And everything just makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear you. They say that you can't write love, you experience it. So I guess everybody has gone through the episode of really experiencing love, but because we throw so many words in the universe, I think we also need to just sit back. And I remember having a conversation with a good friend of mine, and I shall not say her name, but if she's listening to this, I think she will remember who she is. But then we were talking about it, that we, as much as we have loved people along the way, that we mustn't forget the importance of breaking soul ties also, and then generally knowing where you stand. So acknowledging that they exist, that a soul tie does exist, and don't just sit back and say, oh, it could be love, because you might end up waking up 40 years, 30 years later, and you're still in this constant loop of X's and X's and X's, and you're not moving forward, So we're talking about acknowledging it. You were about to say?
Yeah, I hear. No, I was about to say that I hear you with that. Like, you can have a spiral of X's and whatnot, but in the end run, it's good to acknowledge that these people existed, but then, is cutting them off good for your health? Is it good for love?
I guess maybe it could be.
Because eventually, if they are engraved in that essence, it's be in your heart, and no matter what, whenever you meet them 20, 30 years down the line, you will still feel the same. It's just that it's out of sight, out of mind.
Well, I would say that that's where maybe we are stuck as people, because how do you move forward if your heart is still invested in the past? Because one is acknowledging that, yes, you loved this person, and second is deciding what you're going to do about that. I'll make an example with somebody I met a while back. We were cool. We were very cool. We listened to almost the same music. We liked the same things. And it got to a point whereby even like I would have to travel to go see this person. I would constantly be on a flight to go see this person. And they would do the same thing. And it was exciting. It's love, but at the same time, as I then decided to relocate, okay, there were nights and moments where I wake up in sweats because I had this lingering thoughts about this person. And one minute I'm missing them, the other minute I'm dreaming about them. And if I don't have a conversation with this person, my day just feels like it's not complete somehow. I have to say, how you doing? So for me, it just came to a point where I started feeling like, yes, maybe we were together, we enjoyed each other's companies, maybe love did exist or it does exist, but at the same time, I don't think being spiritually bounded with somebody is also good, because you end up having this person and carrying this person for a very long time if you don't acknowledge it first and then tell yourself that this might be a problem and I need to fix it. Because imagine if now I have
imagine.
moved on and that person is spiritually still, bounded with me. There's still that soul tie where I am dreaming about this person. How is it fair for the person that I'm going to be loving at that present moment? That's my biggest worry, because it will have an impact on the current relationship or future relationship.
Yeah, I know. Like, I hear you. Like, yeah, it might intervene with your current relationship because what? You're not dreaming about that person that you're with now? Come on. Like, for real, the way I see it, né, is that we look, it's a problem if you make it a problem. It's love. Love is love. It exists. And if you live it in the present, it will give you all it has to give you. Yes, the past is the past. We have to acknowledge and just move on. But you move on knowing what it feels like to be loved. I mean, our daughters, for instance, or our sons need to know how to treat women, and the only way they can know that is by referring to the past on how they were taught how to, to show love to someone. If you don't refer to the past, then how are you going to know how to move forward? And it's not like, you mustn't go back in the past and go dig for all the dark side stuff, because the dark side will just leave you in a wormhole, in a whole black hole that you cannot never come back from. But when you think of love, it's a different feeling. You're thinking about how you felt, how you make other people feel, and that's the exact same way you want to keep feeling presently with the person that you're with. You don't want to fuck up the relationship. Sorry if I am not allowed to swear on podcast, but I'm just saying, yeah, that you're not trying to mess up what you are or having now, but you still have to know how you want to feel now, and you've had past experiences of that. I mean, even dreaming, those are messages from you for you, and they will always take you back to say, yo, this is how the feeling is. This is, messages to yourself. So how you move on what you get is all on you. You don't have to really invest and be like, what, because I'm dreaming about this person, I think I want to be with this person forever. I'm ditching my current relationship because I'm not dreaming about this person. But this person right now is probably showing you so much love that it doesn't need you to dream about it. And I mean, like, with relationships, as much as we openly discuss how we want to be treated and how we want, we don't really open up everything and be like, yo, this person made me do this, that. And half the time, we don't even want to know about your exes, because we know you probably still talk to them. You probably still, have some sort of connection with them. And even when you meet them, let's say, for instance, we're dating and then you meet an ex, when you introduce them to me, you're not going to say it's my ex. You're probably going to say, no, that's a close friend. That's an old friend, because you're trying to avoid making me feel bad or making me question if they are still talking, if, you know what I mean? So we should just learn to let love be. It is what it is presently, and it will always be what it was back then, depending on how toxic it was when it ended. But it doesn't end. That's the thing about it, because you always refer back to the feeling. You always remember how people made you feel, not how they really acted, or it's all on how they made you feel. If they made you happy, you will always cherish that. and you would always seek that kind of feeling, whether
Yeah.
from them or somebody else. If they made you feel like crap, you probably don't even want to be close to them because you know the feeling and you're trying to
Yeah.
avoid that kind of feeling. So
Mm.
you'd always chase the good kind of love. And if you don't chase it, it will chase you because it's in your mind. You think about it, you dream about it, you live it, you presently are going through it, and it will come to you at your best times. That's why sometimes I feel like, let's say, for instance, you just got into a relationship, and
Mm-hmm.
then all the people that made you feel good back then, let's say before you got into the relationship, did not exist. And now
Mm.
you're in this good relationship, and all the people that made you feel good back then just suddenly pop back up in your life.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? What happens? What's going on now? Because now you in a good space, and
Mm-hmm.
everything that was good in your life is coming back. What does that mean?
Mm.
Does
Mm.
that mean now you have to question what you have now and be like,
Mm-hmm.
no, I don't want all that old stuff. You think about it, they say absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Yes.
Fonder to what? To love? To feeling good?
Mm-hmm.
What is it? You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
gotta
Yeah.
like see it from that kind of perspective that, it's love is love. You can't control it.
Yeah.
It gives you what you want when you want it, and it will always exist. If you want to question it and be like, no, problem, that's on you. It's not on love. Love is there. It will
Yeah.
always say
Yeah.
yes to whatever you're thinking. The universe will always be like, okay, you feel bad about it. All right, let's feel
Let's
bad.
feel good.
You feel good
Yeah.
about it. All right, let's feel good.
True.
So yeah, that's my
I
two
wish it
cents
was
on it.
just 2 cents, but I guess it gets it. I hope this episode will get people thinking
Yeah,
about where they are in love and where they want to find themselves. And I think from the previous 2 episodes to this episode, it's 3 episodes about love. So I think we'll never really have the answer to what love is and when do we draw the line? When do we know when it's good for us or bad for us? I guess, like you said, we must just take
can love be bad?
some love. Some love could be
Can it be
bad
bad?
in the sense of loving somebody that hurts you. Okay, loving somebody that abuses you. Love can be bad because as much as you feel love will solve everything that's happening at that time. Sometimes it's also bad for you. Like, it's okay to also love people from a distance. So when I say it's bad, I'm not saying bad to feel it, but sometimes you need to know when to let go and love from a distance. I think I should have said, yeah.
I hear you. There's this also there's this statement that also says, actually it's on a song, an instrumental that says, it feels good to love
Yeah.
somebody that loves you back. I think that's love. That's if it's genuinely received and given back, that's super. But if it's one-sided, then it hurts because then you feel so much for this person and this person doesn't give a shit
Yeah.
about you. Like, they don't care. So it's a love you are trying to give out, but you're not receiving back. So I don't think that's love. I think I don't know. I don't even know what to call that because I think to some extent, um, with my forever, it ended up being something like that because I was showing so much love
Decided.
that it
Yeah.
ended up being one-sided, and I ended up being confused about it. Like, okay, you know what? I need to stop talking to this person to the
Yeah.
point where I literally stopped. Now my question behind my head is that the day I see her, what's going to happen? Because we've shared so times
Yeah.
for like, we've been together for that long.
I guess that when that day
What
comes, I
happens
would
then?
like for you to also share. We would like to revisit this. Should you ever bump into her, we are going to revisit this episode and publish it on season 2 on what happened after X met forever. That would be really great. It has been such a great chat, and I'm trying not to prolong the episodes. I know, like, we could actually talk forever. People would literally listen to us for like 2 hours, 3 hours, us
Forever.
debating about different types of topics, actually. So we are 28 minutes in, and I would like to actually say thank you for taking the time, even if the network has been playing games with us. But I hope that people will hear it loud and clear. And I think out of this whole conversation that we had, I think it boils down to what Common said: let love have the last word. So let's experience it. Let's experience it. Let's feel it in the moment, and let's not question it, I guess. Right? But yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, I hope that you get to listen to this when I publish it. But
yeah,
So-
definitely.
So thank you so much again,
Definitely.
and hopefully we'll touch base again for season 2. Season 2 will only happen sometime at the end of the year, but this is not the last episode for season 1. This is just, I'm going to take a break for the month of June, and I will be coming back again in July. So thank you for joining the last episode for the month. And yeah, we'll touch base again.
Yeah. I feel special. I feel like I'm love having the last word.
Nice one. All right. Thanks.
Yeah. I know. Thanks for having me. It was dope.
Thank you.
Let's be clear on what we keep attracting in life. Everything we do, we're connected by spirit. And let us not fall in the wrong directions, seeking love or just finding ourselves in these loops of life. Others will call it generational curses, and others will call it misfortune. Whatever it is, renounce what doesn't serve you. As women, we want to fulfill this urge in us of not wanting to be alone, constantly seeking and wanting, and we put ourselves in unhealthy relationships. Before we jump into new ones, we need to learn to renounce and claim back what we deserve by renouncing any vows or commitments made that played a part in forming soul ties. Even things like, I love you forever, or I could never love another woman or man the way I love you. Such words that you put out in the universe need to be renounced. They are spoken commitments that need to be undone verbally. Forgive the person if you have anything against them. Learn to move on when it's done. Whether we're Christian or not, I believe that for every Adam, there's an Eve, and for every Eve, there's an Adam. For every Eve, there's an Eve. For every Adam, there's an Adam. At the end of it all, we all deserve happiness, though we need to make sure it's the right type of happiness. So whatever love chapter is next, be ready to experience it. Remember, love is love and equally so. Let love have the last word, Common. So, follow me on Instagram and subscribe on Spotify and Apple Podcast. I am Nita Terry T, your host of Unspoken Truth. Until the next episode, remember to do what you gotta do so we can do what we wanna do. I thank you.
The Unspoken Truth is the catalyst for important and thought-provoking conversations that need to be had. The network tackles social ills, spiritual healing, soul-searching, and mental health awareness. To subscribe, click on the show link to follow our podcast and be part of the Unspoken Truth family. Find us on all social media platforms.